Hi everybody, my name is Mike Stewart, Director of Research and Innovation at QinetiQ, and here today we're at the end of day one at the Consumer Electronics Show. It's been an excellent day. I'm here with David Taylor.
Hi Mike.
Hello David. So we're going to have a little bit of a wrap of what we've seen today. What's caught your eye in terms of key technology then?
Certainly there's quite a number of really interesting wearables that we've seen. N-Real stood out as a really exciting piece of technology.
Yep.
The field of view, which has been really quite restrictive in the last couple of years, is starting to get quite broader now. So we're now at around 50-52 degrees for the N-Real device. While we didn't see any true augmented reality on that device itself, the quality of the imagery and the fact that you could see through to the environment past that display really excited me. I think it's
really good
technology.
Excellent technology. Weight-wise, 88 grams.
88 grams. So still has that wire trailing down, and the mobile device drives the display itself. I understand that N-Real have tied up with Qualcomm, so there's a number of mobile devices that are dedicated to drive the device.
And they'll be going 5G enabled as well in the future.
Time,
absolutely. A company to watch, I would say.
Yeah, I certainly think so. It's a company to watch.
What else in wearables? We've talked Vuzix, didn't we, as well?
Vuzix, yeah. So Vuzix have got a device that's been around for a while now, called the Vuzix Blade. But we tried that just to really compare that with N-Real. Vuzix does have a completely wire-free device. It's Android-based, if I remember correctly, and gives you I wouldn't say again it's not particularly an AR-based display, but is very, very good in terms of weight and the fact that you don't have that trailing wire, which is always something that customers puts off customers when you talk about wearable devices.
So wearable devices, big thing around CES, definitely moving in the direction and starting to get a bit more industrial in terms of their capability, more robust as well in terms of technology, especially for our customer base.
And certainly something that's now becoming more reasonable to use and demonstrate to customers and show what's going to be possible. And certainly in the next couple of years it's going to get to a point where you'll certainly use those in every sort of industrial type environment and
So the other thing that we've noticed today at CES, a lot around screen technology. I mean, you've got the big brands, Samsung and LG with their 8K displays. And we've seen some really innovative, different types of screen technology as well.
I did like the Samsung displays, and I did like the LG's got some fantastic 8K screens that just draw you in. It's a beautiful screen technology, but also flexible screen technology as well. So we've seen Samsung's second go at their foldable display as part of a phone, so the Samsung Galaxy Fold.
Again, now, 5G enabled.
5G enabled. Horrendously expensive still at £1,900 or $1,900, whatever way you want to pay. But what that does give you is a real insight into how flexible screen technology will progress in the next couple of years. The form factor is very, very good. And the device itself isn't as heavy as some people sort of make out when they've reviewed the device. They've made some improvements, certainly around the areas of the device where they were talking originally about the sort of dirt and problems we're going to develop with the foldable display itself. So the Galaxy Fold, very, very good device. The other one was Royale.
They were very smart,
So they were the very first to bring out a flexible display last year. And now this year we've seen different applications of that flexible technology. So we've seen it applied onto the body of an individual as a wearable type display. And what I can see happening there is you're going to see, within the next 12 months, you're going to see some very innovative devices that have utilised that flexible display in lots of different ways. It's been talked about for a number of years. Now we're starting to see the fruition of that type of display. Certainly things like the refresh rates that we hadn't seen were particularly good in previous years are very, very good now. The resolution of those displays as well, so there's very, very realistic now to be used in a variety of different applications.
And I think with these displays, for those who are not familiar, we're talking about a display which is as flexible as a piece of card, and it can actually move around in that sense. I think what I saw was the application, certainly in the military space, where you could take that type of technology, knit it into a soldier's uniform, and then also be able to then hook that into wearable technology that then starts to look at statistics of that individual, their heart rate, their performance, etc. And that will allow their teammates to then see what's going on. It's an amazing innovation. And actually, just from last year to this year, the technology has already improved so much. It's getting smaller and smaller, thinner and thinner.
It is.
That's going to be one to watch as well.
Exciting. Yeah, very exciting.
So robotics then.
Robotics.
I mean, we have seen David and everybody there. We have seen a lot of robots at CES, and you can now. I think it's got to that point with robotics where there's a robot for pretty much everything you could want.
There is.
Anything interesting that caught your eye?
Well, yesterday Samsung had their keynote.
Yes, they did. They had a robotic tennis ball. Tell us about that.
Very, very central to their keynote, and has been throughout today. From what we've seen, the Samsung stand has gathered huge crowds at the demo that they've run on the hour, every hour. We couldn't. It was 3 or 4 people deep today. Couldn't get near the demo area or into the VIP area either. So it's a slightly difficult to describe because we haven't got a huge amount of detail about it. So Samsung talk about this device called Bally, which is a device that will patrol your home, support your lifestyle in a number of different ways. Strange examples they showed where it will remind you that your plants need watering. Not entirely sure how that works with the device. Also support you in exercise. And the video that they showed promoting the device yesterday sort of showed you looking after your pet, your dog at home.
It's like a home personal assistant.
It is. It's that. I think there's an opportunity there, but I think it probably needs a bit more thought in terms of how it's going to be applied around the home. But what we've talked about over the last 24 hours is the robots themselves we're seeing a lot of very dedicated robots for very particular activities around the home or around
transactional activities.
And whether or not you want your home stuffed with a variety of different robots to carry out those tasks is a sort of question that the consumer needs to answer themselves, I think, in that respect. So interesting concept. Whether or not we'll see it in reality, I don't know.
Seeing quite a lot of focus around the last mile of logistics supply at CES today, so looking at robotics in that sense, devices that will carry shipments of whatever supplies into that last mile. I think very applicable for our defence domain as well. In particular, the robotic inspired from Boston Dynamics, their dog technology.
Yes,
that was quite interesting. Again, in terms of ground manoeuvre, it seems to be capable of doing quite a lot.
It did, and there's a number of those types of robots that we've seen around here, and again, I think it's certainly in a maturing area. And I think the core of the technologies there, it just needs that enhancement to be able to be truly useful on a regular basis, and something that we can pretty much take off the shelf and adapt to suit whatever we need for our customers.
I think another area that struck me today when we went to see John Deere, they're obviously massive in agriculture, and they were looking at autonomous technology for in that particular industry sector. And obviously, they've got their massive tractors and stuff for crops and managing the fields. I was sort of it was interesting talking to one of the representatives there about the safety case for autonomy in agriculture. In that, even though they've got a lot of the technology, it's all GPS controlled, obviously in that environment. They've still got a man in the loop. Because you don't really want a 50-ton combine harvester driving through your village. So it's interesting just to look at the safety aspect of autonomy, which still seems to be a challenge.
There is. And the other thing I think we saw a huge amount of was drones. Drones are not going away.
No. Battery technology seems to be a little bit incrementally improving. Probably one of the still big inhibitors for drone technology.
Well, one of the more interesting ones we saw was on a relatively small stand, which had a set of tracks on the base of the drone itself, wasn't it? So it had the ground capability as well as air capability. interesting application, being able to make it a ground-based vehicle as well as air-based.
Yeah.
And we saw a huge amount of drones that replicate. I think Intel was one of the very first to show sort of they were starting to build up sort of a firework replacement.
Yeah.
Some sort of sky-based.
Well, it's the swarming technology as well,
isn't it?
which is interesting to see. Again, it's not hard to think about how you can take that swarming technology into other domains quite easily.
Yeah, provide quite interesting use cases there.
All right, well, I think we've pretty much wrapped up day one. Exciting day. We're planning with QinetiQ to actually do one of these every day of CES, the 3 major days, and we'll tomorrow be able to take you through what we've learnt from day 2. So thanks for listening.